Hey, what's up? This is Matt from GrowthRx. Today I'm coming with a Q&A, and the question is, what differentiates a muscle building or hypertrophy oriented workout from a strength building workout? And then kind of where does conditioning and endurance fit into that? It's actually quite simple. Often you're going to see things about rep ranges. They're going to talk a lot about like low reps, say 3 to 5 reps in a set is more going to be strength and is going to be maybe power. And then as you get into that like 8 to 12 to 15 range, that's going to be hypertrophy, muscle building. Then as you get into the 20, 25, 30 and beyond range, you're getting into muscular endurance and then transitioning more into conditioning as you're getting to 30 and above. So conditioning meaning you're building cardiovascular and just the ability for your muscles to continue to work. You can do that with weights, you can do that with exercises, body weight exercises, and so on, just the same way as you can do running, jogging, rowing, things like that. If you think about like pulling on a rower, you're going to be doing thousands of repetitions of that, and it's kind of like a muscular pull, like a deadlift in a way, or like a row, but it is actually a row. But in the end, it's at a very low weight, so you're able to do thousands of repetitions. That's kind of the idea of where you're doing an exercise with some resistance and doing it more as conditioning. But specific to strength and hypertrophy, which are the big ones that we see, what we generally see in terms of those who are seeking hypertrophy is we're looking for time under tension, and specifically we're looking to increase eccentric loads or build muscle tension. So what do I mean by that? So increasing eccentric loads means that we're going to slowly move the weight in the direction where the muscle is lengthening. So for a bicep, for example, as my hands go down, I'm lengthening this bicep, and that's going to be the eccentric phase. If I'm doing a bench press or some type of press, as we bring the bar or dumbbells down towards my chest, that's going to be the eccentric phase. The concentric phase is the pushing it back up or the shortening of the muscle, which in this is my pec, or as I bring this up here, it'd be the shortening of my bicep. So that tends to be something that we focus on slow eccentrics when we're looking to build muscle mass. The other thing that we'll work on is going to be tension of the muscle. So we have an exercise we like to do again for the biceps. We call it biceps 21. The idea is we're going to start with the lengthened part, and we're going to do short partial ranges. Then we're going to do partial ranges at the top, and then we're going to do full range movements of that bicep curl. So what that's going to do is it's currently going to create tension at the lengthened portion of the muscle. Then it's going to create tension when we have a shortened position. And now that muscle is exhausted, it's metabolically tired, and then we're going to do full reps through a metabolically tired muscle. So we've built up a lot of those byproducts in the muscle, and it's struggling to do work more because a lot of those energy reserves are lost in it, not necessarily because the contractile tissues are as tired or as overburdened, although that can be a part of it as well. When we go from the hypertrophy oriented, which is again trying to build muscle tension, or time under tension, which is going to be slower reps, slow eccentrics especially, then we can move into that rep range where a lot of times to do that effectively, we're getting 8 to 15 reps in general in order to get that effective and to get a set that's going to be 45 to maybe even 90 seconds for one set as we focus. Also, a key with this is compound exercises are a lot harder to do in this way. So a lot of times, as I've mentioned, we're talking about like a bicep curl. That's a single joint, one muscle focused exercise instead of focusing on larger compound exercises. Those tend to be more strength oriented. Single joint exercises are often used for hypertrophy. So this is why you're going to see a lot of bodybuilders using machines, and you'll see the thing where people say, oh, if you just want to build size, you need to jump on machines. It's because you can isolate one joint and you can move through a specific movement of one joint, and that often happens better for hypertrophy is going to be the result of what we get from that. That was not the best said. It's going to give you more hypertrophy working on a single joint and exhausting it, and there's going to be less risk involved. When you try to work in hypertrophy and you go into compound sets and you're going very, very slowly through those, that takes more expertise and more experience, because being able to move under a load and not fall and injure yourself or miss a lift that then you injure yourself on is going to be harder in those compound lifts to judge that, because you really do want to go very, very close to failure. And in fact, most people underestimate where failure is, and so they're often stopping well short of failure, even though they have a few more reps in the tank. That's what the research tends to say. Let's look at strength. So with GoTherics, most of what we do in our programs is going to be more strength focused. And the reason for that is because most of our clients really want to build functional ability. They want to build the strength, the motor control, and the general ability to exert force, and that's going to change more the way that they feel in their lives. And as we age, I think that's generally the most impactful that we can do. It's less about the aesthetics of building a muscular physique, and it's more about building stronger contractile tissue or recovering contractile tissue than maybe you had in the past in order to have greater ability moving forward. So that's then where you end up doing lower rep ranges a lot of times, as well as you're really focused on getting the proper form, moving the weight in a more uniform fashion under control, and then maybe even pushing towards the power range where you learn to be a little bit more explosive, which is something that over time we lose. So a strength training program is going to lean way more heavily into compound exercises, and you're going to have a lot less of single joint exercises other than areas where maybe you're lacking and you need to build a little bit more strength in that area to complement your compound exercises. So you're going to see a lot of that. You're also going to see that compound exercises built for strength, we really want to maximize the resistance and the amount of weight that you move, or the resistance on your joints in each movement. And so we're either going to put you in positions where your body is at a mechanical disadvantage, or we're going to load you heavier and we're going to limit the number of reps. So for example, when we're looking at strength, most of our clients, the most reps they're ever going to do with us is going to be around 15. And a lot of times when we're really focused on strength as our key factor, we're going to be running things like 5x5s, 3x5s, things like that. 5 rep sets, because they're going to focus way more on strength building. If we want to incorporate a little bit of power, we might even do sets of 3 to 5 and try to be more explosive in the concentric phase. So this is the opposite of the hypertrophy. Whereas if we're doing something, again, going back to the biceps, if I want to be explosive and I want to work on power, then that concentric phase, as I shorten the muscle, that's going to be where I'm trying to move quickly, and that's going to be where I'm trying to put more of my emphasis rather than the slow eccentric phases of hypertrophy. So those are the general rules and generally what we're doing when we are going into strength versus hypertrophy. I hope that was helpful and answers this question. And if you have any questions or comments you'd like to add, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Thanks.